everybody, and welcome back. I am the Sovereign, and this is my court. If this is your first time in attendance, hello. Please consider hitting the subscribe button before you leave our kingdom. Hi, everybody. I know that I have been very busy. You know I'm taking law classes, I'm writing case briefs, but I am still here and present, keeping an eye on everything that is going on. Hello to everybody who is in my coterie. I know it's small, but I do appreciate you title holders. My Viscount Lee, we have Miss Cement. I really do appreciate you guys, and I love talking to you. Also, hey, and shout out to everybody that is in Texas that is going through this horrendous blizzard and they don't have power, and I was doing my best. We did have one member of the kingdom who resides in Texas, and I was trying to do my best to get something to her. Hopefully there were no weather delays. I haven't been able to be in the Discord because I've been doing so much stuff. But I am here to talk about something that is very important. A lot of the pageant discussions that I have spoken about primarily don't necessarily involve or fault the queens. It's not really in their control. When I talked about so-called fat girls in pageant, not necessarily their fault. When I talk about so-called ageism when it comes to pageants, it's not really on their shoulders to deal with that issue. I primarily bring those things up in defense of the pageant queens, but they have, no input in that issue specifically. However, this specific issue is probably the one issue where I can just say it's kind of the fault of the queens. Not entirely, but if there was anything that really just irked my nerves, really grinded my gears about the pageant queens who I do love. If there was one thing that I was just like, y'all, really, you really irritate me when it comes to this, it's this issue. Our queens, our beloved role models and leaders are reluctant to use their voice. I know all of the queens have advocacies, right? Even Miss Universe, Miss Earth, even the Miss America queens, they all have advocacies. They all want to stand up for something. But if you're truly going to stand up for something, on the flip side of that, you have to be willing to stand against other things. For example, I stand up for diversity, inclusion. I'm an environmental advocate. On the flip side of that, I have to be willing to stand against those who would perpetuate discrimination or anti-women thinking or anything that goes against environmental welfare. I have to be willing to stand against the people who are doing the harm to my community or to people in general. And that's where the queens, they're gone. They're just not present. I don't see it happen. We honestly rarely see the queens speak up for anything once they get their title, their crown. We rarely see them doing these things. And to me, I am a pageant fan. Everybody knows I love the girls. But as a pageant fan, I don't like having to sit here and question how highly I think of these women, but it's making me question my support of them when I see the queens only standing up for things when it's convenient, when they feel like they're not going to, ruffle any feathers, when they feel like they're not going to get any backlash. They're standing up for things when it's most easy. And that's not a leader. To be a leader, you have to be willing to lead when people need you most. You have to be willing to do what other people are not willing to do. You have to be able to stand up when other people can't. People need you to lead in those most controversial times of hardship, when it is difficult. And the queens aren't there when it's time to stand against something that maybe other people wouldn't be able to. For example, the Miss USA state competitors, I found myself supremely disappointed in state title holders during the racial awakening that went on in the United States in early 2020. During that summer, the United States was literally on fire. The United States was literally ablaze, ladies. The United States was on fire. And I'm sure everybody knew it because people saw it around the world. It was happening around the world. So we're looking for a moment where these girls finally get to stand up and be leaders. And this was prime opportunity to wear your crown. I went and checked to see where my beloved queens were at. And most of them were posting bikini photos. During a time in the United States where all 50 states, including other countries, and everywhere, was protesting. And there was so much emotion and so much vitriol happening where we could have used some leadership, some words of compassion, anything. The queens were posting booby shots, bikini photos. Where were the queens? And you guys saw how I felt during that time. So it's on my vlog. Like, I was sitting on a Colorado airport floor crying on my way to DC to do the protest. Why was I the one standing in front of the White House wearing a crown? Why was it only me? And I'm not advocating for the women to be political. You don't have to be political. You don't have to choose sides with a party. But this was a moment in time where your focus should have been on your state, at least, speaking about coming together, speaking about the importance of diversity and inclusion, speaking about these issues. And most of the queens were silent. Most of them. I know for a fact that several of the queens did try to speak out. And I know that Miss USA and Miss Universe, Chelsea and Zoe, actually did go out and protest. Which, thank you 100% Miss Universe organization for even allowing them to do so. And I'm going to tell you why I'm giving props to the Miss Universe organization, the top Paula. I'm giving props to Paula because there is something to be said about directors. We'll get there. But this is what I'm saying. When the moment presents itself for the women to truly step up and be leaders, they are absent. And this leads to another issue that the pageant community and the queens, the organizations, have to deal with in general. The public at large around the world, unless you're in a major pageant country, deems pageant irrelevant. They don't think too much of the queens, and this is why. Because the queens refuse to make themselves relevant. If you want to be relevant, if you want to have the power, if you want to be that role model, you should be out there speaking about relevant issues, relevant topics. You should not be afraid to make waves and make an impact when it is in fact your job to do so. It is your job to set the standard. It is your job to be the role model. And a lot of the roles that I'm seeing the queens model is Instagram photos. That's what I'm seeing. And like I said, I'm not advocating for queens to go full on political, but you cannot call yourself a queen if you are unwilling to go to war for something. And this is part of the reason why so many queens have to deal with such disrespect in the community. It's because the community sees you as spineless. It's because the community has come to expect nothing but pretty photos from you. They expect nothing. They expect nothing from you. That's why you guys get so disrespected in your own comment section, is because people know you're not going to say anything. The queens, above all, can be relied upon to tolerate abuse at any level. Typically, the queens don't stand up for themselves, but honestly, you guys don't even stand up for each other or the pageant community in general. When somebody is trashing the pageant community and calling pageant girls ditzy, pretty beauty queens that don't know anything, who other than me is saying something? And that's not me putting myself up on a pedestal. I don't want to be the only one. Why am I the only one standing at the gates at defense? Why am I the only one guarding the gates of the pageant community? Why am I the only one that is speaking up? And even to defending each other, I don't see pageant queens defend each other, and you guys call each other sisters. You guys are all in the same group chats, and you all know each other and praise each other in your inboxes and whatever. Fantastic. But when it comes down to standing up for your girls and going to war, where are the rest of the pageant community? And I can't say the fans, because honestly, the fans, you do your work. I will say the fans honestly speak up and out more than the pageant queens, that's unacceptable, because the queens are supposed to be our role models. So where are the pageant queens when it comes time to stand up for each other? Case in point, Sophia, Miss Mexico, top 3. Do you guys remember when she was dragged by her own director? Where were her sisters? Where were the queens? That's why I had to say something, because y'all really left her for dead. There were no messages of support, and I'm not saying, I get the queens want to just toe the line, and I'll get to why that's a problem. But even if you're going to toe the line, you can still be like, you know what? But I still love my sister. I still think this woman did fantastic, and she deserves all the love and support in the world, and she represented her country to the best of her ability, and she should be praised for that. Where was that? You cannot imagine how disappointed I was to see Sophia just thrown to the wolves. And I put myself in other people's positions, like, for this woman who represented so well and placed top 3, I could not imagine how she must be feeling sitting there, and nobody came to her defense. Nobody said anything. And people wonder why pageant world is largely irrelevant when it comes to the general public. Unless you're, like I said, you're in a major pageant nation. In the minds of the general public, they don't think about you. You're not relevant because you choose not to be, because you don't put yourself out there. You are unwilling to face adversity. In order to gain the respect of your public, you have to be willing to do what other people are not. You have to be willing to stand up in the face of adversity, which when do we see the queens do it? Honestly. Now, I will admit to this. I understand, and I have always understood that my position and that of the pageant queens is supremely different, which is why when I chose my YouTube name to be, my branding here on the channel, I did not choose a Miss title. I didn't want to choose like a Miss Pageant Lover, a Miss anything. I did not want to do that. And I didn't even want Queen anywhere in my title. I didn't want that. I am the sovereign for a reason. If you are unaware, to be sovereign means you are the ultimate authority, means you are the number one person, you are the lead, and you make all final decisions when it comes to you. To be sovereign means to be uninfluenced by anyone outside of what you are. And that's exactly what I am. I am beholden to no one. No one can take this crown off my head save for me. No organization has say or control over what I put on my channel or what I choose to say. Everything, every decision is made for by me. The queens do not have that luxury. They only get to lead for a year. They only get to have that crown for a year. They can be dethroned based on the words of their organizations or their directors. They are not sovereign, though they are queens. And so I will say I understand why some of them feel necessary to toe the line between what is acceptable and what's going to upset an organization or director. They have to be careful because they are not sovereign. I can sit up here and spout all of the truth that I want without worry of backlash, or I'll get backlash, but you can't really do anything about it. But I can do that. They don't necessarily have that luxury. And I will acknowledge this. We have to address the fact that the queens are not sovereign. This brings in the directors. Going back to the Miss USA competitors, I know for a fact, okay? For an indisputable fact that multiple queens, multiple Miss USA state title holders did in fact try to use their voice when it came to the great awakening that happened during the summer of 2020 when all the protests were going on. I know for a fact that some USA title holders tried to speak out, and I know for a fact that multiple of them were silenced by their directors, some of whom were Black women. So I can't even put all of this at the feet of the competitors. I know that the directors are silencing the queens. I know that the directors are preventing the queens from doing what a lot of them want to do during their reigns. And you know what? It's the directors, you have to take fault here too, to why the pageant community has not been able to flourish. Paula, excuse me, Mama Paula, I want you to know the reason Miss Universe isn't bigger and the rest of the organizations, I am MGI, you can get in here too. Miss America, you can get in here too. I want you to know the reason the pageant community isn't flourishing the way I believe it could and should is because a lot of your state directors or national directors are strangling the pageant community. The pageant community can't breathe. They can't breathe because the directors have their hands on the necks of the queens. The queens want to make change. They want to be the facilitators of impact, but they are not being allowed to do so because directors are so afraid of controversy. And let me just let you know, okay? In order to trigger controversy, the public has to care about you first. The public has to care. And the public doesn't care because the number one thing the public knows pageant queens can be relied upon to do is be quiet, is to be the pretty pageant queen that they are, toe the line, and never say anything controversial. Everybody knows the queens don't say anything controversial. The queens aren't going to stand up. The queens aren't going to use their voice. That's why nobody pays attention, because they expect nothing from you. So directors who are worried about controversy, quite honestly, you could use it. You could use it, okay? You could use it because the only support you're truly getting is from people who are already a part of the pageant community, all right? But you do not have any impact or power outside of the community that is already there. And I know some of the directors are probably hyperventilating right now. Chill out. Chill out. Because I trust the queens, and I realize you don't. A lot of the directors, the organizations don't trust the women they crowned. That's why you're so reluctant to allow them to do what they are so capable of doing. You don't trust them. And I don't understand why. You went through all this trouble to find such beautiful women, okay? Because the point of them being beautiful is to attract attention. You went and found these beautiful women who are able to speak, make an impact, who say they want this job, and then you're reluctant to let them do their job. You're reluctant to allow them to say what needs to be said. You don't trust them. And quite honestly, if you don't trust your queen, you should have chosen another queen. But if you fully trust and believe in them the way that I believe that you should, why don't you allow them to reign in the way they feel they should? Let them speak. Let them have a bit of control and trust from you. Allow them to do things their way and see what happens. Just see what happens. I really don't think the general public is going to fault the entire pageant community on the opinions of one queen. We don't do it with the US presidents. Each US president, each US political leader has their own opinions. And the reason that democracy works so well is because we allow each individual to have their opinions without letting one person deface an entire country. Okay, yes, we had President Trump. Yes, we had President Obama. Doesn't matter which one you like or dislike, that specific person does not get to write the context or history for the entire United States. The United States is still a great country no matter who's leading us. The same thing can be said for any organization. If Zosie decides to stand up and say Rocky Road ice cream is the best ice cream in the world, Rocky Road ice cream was developed by an elementary school 5th grader who had no sense in taste. I'm gonna have to disagree, but that does not mean that I suddenly hate Zosie because of her opinion, or I hate the pageant community because of her opinion. And like I said, I'm not saying the queens need to get political, but when the time comes for them to stand against someone, they should be allowed to do so, especially if it goes directly against their advocacy. Miss Universe Philippines, Ribia Mateo was on some queen behavior when she stood up and stood against her own president, saying women are not able to be president. That is not their role. They are not able to hold their position. Ribia respectfully disagreed, and she made headlines for it. What is going on in the Philippines? She made headlines for saying the obvious answer. That is her job. As a female leader, it should be expected that Miss Universe Philippines in all her glory is going to stand up and say that the president is wrong. Of course she is.
And any influencer that says otherwise can go choke on a grapefruit. Gem Magnow.
That's such an easy thing. That's so easy. That's such an easy thing to say that is the right thing to say, and yet she still made headlines for it. Why did she make headlines? Why did Ribia make headlines, guys? Because pageant queens rarely stand against anyone. So even though this was a very simple statement and expected of her in my eyes, she made headlines because she did what other queens will never do. But in that moment, she was 100% correct. She stood against someone who was big and very powerful, obviously the president, and said what needed to be said because that is her advocacy, that is her job, and she used her voice. Beautiful example, Ribia, beautiful. And do you see what happened? Ribia Mateo made headlines. Ribia Mateo made headlines. And the pageant community did not come crashing down around her. The pageant organization in the Philippines has not been disbanded. Ribia Mateo did what a queen is supposed to do. Thank you, Ribia. Thank you. Miss Nova of Canada, she is unafraid. I said that in my review when I was doing my contenders list. Nova is unafraid. She will stand up for what she believes in and stand against anyone who decides to speak otherwise. And I applaud her for that, for having the conviction and the spine that most queens do not. Nova respectfully, because she wasn't even mean about it, she was respectfully educating people on why the Miss Romania photo shoot was inappropriate. She did it very respectfully, and she started catching backlash. And I'm sure at the time she knew she was going to get the backlash, but she's on that queen behavior to know that no matter what happens, I'm going to stand up for what I believe in. And I will not be stopped, and I will not be silenced. Queen behavior. Queen. Now, I know that is what a lot of queens are afraid of. Okay, I know a lot of queens are like, yes, I do want to do this. I want to be this role model. I want to speak. I want to do this. But you're afraid of the backlash. You're afraid of what people are going to say or think about you. And my dear, I love you, and I just have to say this. Why do you care? Why do you care? Sorry, queens, but I gotta let you girls know. They're gonna hate you no matter what you do. No matter what you do, people are going to hate you. So come to terms with that. Y'all wanted to get on Ribia about her cleavage. Y'all get on Nova every day about her facial features. Like, I promise every queen in existence, there will come a time where people are going to hate you for no reason. They're gonna hate you for no reason. So why restrict yourself? Why care? If you know you're going to catch hate, at least catch hate for something worthy. If I need to do a video on how to deal with hate or how to deal with trolls, I will. Let me know in the comment section below if I need to do that video, because you guys know I don't give a damn about a troll. I don't give a damn about a troll. You could troll me. They still try. People typically don't try to troll me anymore, but they did. When I first got on YouTube, I got all types of trolly stuff. Do you girls know what happened to me? Even here on YouTube, people tried to make a video about me saying I should be so embarrassed of a photo that I posted like 2 years ago that shows just like cleavage, right? They're like, oh, she should be so embarrassed of what she posted. People hate me or say bad things about me for being who I am. People say bad things about me because I support the pageant community. Did you know that? I get vicious messages because I support these ditzy, stupid girls. I take heat for supporting you guys. I take heat for supporting any queen in particular. I take heat for if I put Ribia too high or if I put her too low. I take heat for Indonesia. I take heat for USA. I take heat for any of the Latin American, like every year without fail. People hate me for the most nonsensical reasons. And for God's sakes, no, I'm totally fine with that. Like, do you see me crying? Do you see me crying? I don't care. What I'm saying is get used to it. What I'm saying is get used to it. If you want to be a public face, you have to know that you are going to take some sort of ridicule or backlash for anything that you do. And I'm sure many of you have already realized that. I'm sure many of you already know, like, no matter what you do, people have something bad to say. So if they're going to have something bad to say about you anyways, boo-boo, give them something to talk, give them something to say, show them something, make waves. Why not? Make waves and then surf those waves. Being an example, being a role model means showing people that you will not be stopped, that you will stand up and say what needs to be said, do what needs to be done, and you will not be stopped. You guys have seen me do it plenty of times here on the YouTube platform, and I will weather any backlash when it comes to what I believe in. I have gone up against Charlie Gold I don't know how many times because I definitely think that getting on YouTube and calling people fat pig whales is bad. And I don't care how many people think otherwise. I will get on YouTube and stand up for a woman taking abuse. I will stand up and say what is wrong, no matter what you have to say about it. I am unafraid of the backlash. As long as I feel that I'm doing what is right, any so-called consequences that come from that is undeserved, invalid, unjust, and I don't give a shit. I don't care. I will say what needs to be said. Because at the end of the day, no matter how much you don't like it, it doesn't make me any less right. It doesn't make me any less right. I was completely right in standing up for Sophia, just like I was completely right for standing up against Charlie. And I know some people have a problem with it, and I don't care. But I just need my queens, like, have more queen behavior, sis. I need more queen behavior. I need some more queen behavior. People are like, oh, why aren't pageants more relevant? The queens and the directors, you guys have to allow people to talk about the pageant queens. You have to allow these girls to make waves, make an impact, make a statement. The only way to garner respect is to go to war. You gotta go to war. You have to be willing to go to war. Otherwise, why are you a queen? Why are you a queen? Okay? Why wear the crown? Go buy a crown. What's the point? If you say you want to make this impact, prove it. Prove it. I want to see more. And like I said, let me know if I need to make a video on how to deal with trolls. Let me know if I need to make a video on how to deal with hate, because you look, if I cannot tell you, I cannot explain to you how much fun I have sitting over here reading hate comments. Yesterday, somebody got into my Instagram. It's still posted. You guys could go to my Instagram and find this post, okay? Because it was posted yesterday. Somebody came to my Instagram under the photo where I'm wearing this like little bralette and I'm ready to go motorcycle riding, and I was like, I stand with my queens. They told me, in the name of women's empowerment, stop selling your body on Instagram. Stop selling your body on Instagram, as if you could afford me. But that picture is so tame. If you go through the rest of my Instagram, I have some stuff on my Instagram, and it's not taken down, and it's not coming down because I don't care. But yeah, when it comes to that post, you're mad because of that post. I am so tempted to just go strip off a shirt, put on a bra, and post the picture. Like, you gonna love on these boobies when I damn well please to put them out. I don't care. So please let me know if I need to do a video on how to deal with hate, how to deal with trolls. Like, it is one of my funnest activities when I'm bored to issue clapbacks. Like, I think it's a game and I'm good at it. Like, please come play with me. Please give me something to do. Because who cares what they think? Who cares? Go rock the boat, ladies. Like I said, make the waves, surf them, ride them, sail through them. You're the queen. You're the queen. You have a crown. Go reign. What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? Leave comments underneath your post? Go for it. You still beneath her. You're still beneath her. Have you guys not realized that people have, if you want to troll a queen, you have to go to her Instagram page and leave a comment beneath her feet. I can't. Let me know if I need to make a video. I would greatly enjoy it. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments section beneath this video. What do you think about this whole situation? Are there specific instances where you were like, you know what, the queens really missed an opportunity to speak out against this, to really use their voice for something? Let me know of those missed opportunities. Let the queens know, like, give them ideas. I understand towing the line, but you do have to understand from the public's perspective, when we do see you towing the line, okay? We're not stupid. We see when you're trying to, like, be the, play both sides of the field, be innocent. Nobody respects that because it makes it seem like you have no spine and no voice. So I'm just letting you know. I understand that it has to be done from maybe the director or the organizations, but at this point, it's gotten to the point where, in my opinion, the queens are entirely silent, completely silent. And that's not okay. If you want to perpetuate this idea of being leaders, we need to see the leadership ability. I need to see the leadership ability. Where's it at? But like I said, leave your comments in the comment section below. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up. If you are not a member of my court, please consider hitting the subscribe button. I would love to see you again. Also, please make sure you go support the queens. Make sure you give them encouragement. When you see them improving in any way, show them that you see that. That's how you can give uplift the queens. They enjoy the acknowledgement that they're doing better, that you see how hard that they are working. That's how you uplift the queens. Go give them praise too. Okay? I love you and I'll miss you, and I will be back in a future video. Bye!